How Formula One could have 3 races in America. It's the US Grand Prix this week, and that means not only getting excited to see glorious F1 cars fly around the circuit of the Americas, but also at the fact that, especially if you're an American F1 fan, we could be seeing 3 or maybe even 4 US Grand Prix in the near future. With the Miami GP being confirmed on the F1 calendar for next year, you'd think that 2 races in the US for 2022 was pretty good, considering the last time we had more than 1 in the US was back in 1982. They were named the United States Grand Prix West and the Caesars Palace Grand Prix. Don't even get me started on the Caesars Palace track, by the way. It was one of the ugliest track layouts I've ever seen and was literally held in a car park. I'm not joking. So to have a Grand Prix in Texas at the almighty circuit of the Americas and now one in Miami, surely that's enough for now, right? Wrong. F1 has strongly hinted at there being a genuine possibility that we'll be getting a 3rd race in America in the not too distant future. But where could we go? Well, the first race that springs immediately to mind is the venue that hosted the most farcical Grand Prix of all time, where only 6 cars started, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Now let's not be too harsh on the track. As much as that particular 2005 occasion was a shambles, it wasn't entirely the circuit's fault by any means, and is still a fast, ferocious circuit with a huge banking round the final turn leading onto the pit straight, which is brilliant to watch. Although F1 fans will probably not bat an eye after Zandvoort entered the chat this year with their ridiculously steep corners. It's also Grade 1 listed, which means that it could host F1 if required, with its current licence expiring in May 2022. So Indianapolis is very much a possibility. Where else is being talked about? None other than Las Vegas itself. But hopefully this time they build an actual proper track rather than a car park for 2 years. I'm sorry to bring it up again, but look at that track map. It gives me chills. Anyway, there is a very real possibility that we could have F1 racing down the strip, which would look absolutely incredible as a venue. Whether the track itself would be any good is another matter, as they would be restricted to the roads that already exist, as opposed to building a whole custom track from scratch. You can genuinely hear the fear in my voice, can't you? That we'll end up going to all these cool venues, but the racing will suffer because of it. The racing has to come first. It probably won't though. One place that could be an option and also a fantastic racing spectacle is the Grand Prix of America, which was scheduled to host its first ever race back in 2013. Set around the streets of New Jersey, the venue would have had a beautiful backdrop of the New York skyline and sit right next to the Hudson River. Herman Tilke designed the 4.9-kilometre track to host 106,000 spectators and was known as the Port Imperial Street Circuit. Sebastian Vettel even did laps of the proposed circuit, saying the track reminded him of Spa, but with fewer trees and more houses. If Seb likes it and says it reminds him of Spa, where do I sign? There were several reasons it never worked out though, including money issues and an alleged breach of contract. But who's to say we couldn't try again? With the correct licenses, F1 could also revisit some old iconic circuits like Watkins Glen, which hosted 20 consecutive races between 1961 and 1980. Or we could even go to Long Beach. Now, it's probably worth mentioning that F1 isn't just looking to conquer America as much as this video might suggest that. Oh no, they're also, if you haven't guessed it already, going to the Middle East. The first one of these races happened in Bahrain in 2004 and very much seemed at the time like a one-off type of race. I remember watching it myself thinking, wow, that's so cool, they're racing in the desert. I wonder if they'll stay. Fast forward 17 years and we've had 18 races in Bahrain, 12 races in Abu Dhabi and the first race scheduled for both Saudi Arabia and Qatar later this year. Why are they visiting these tracks though, Matt, I hear you ask? Well, there's a lot of money to be had. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix pays a big old chunk of cash to be the final race of the season. It's safe to say that Formula One has gone from a mainly European spectacle to very much a global sport. If you're English like I am or live in a fairly similar time zone, we've had rather lovely race start times for many years, middle of the afternoon, lunch sitting in our laps enjoying our day. This may be about to change for more and more races in the coming years. There you have it, how F1 is steadily spreading races across the whole world. Where would you choose to race if you could pick one destination? Let us know in the comment section below.